Have you ever been in a room where someone looks at you, speaks to you, or dismisses you in a way that slices through your confidence, not with fists, not with loud words, but with subtle disrespect, a comment coated in sarcasm, a smirk, a gesture that says, "You don't matter"? It's a feeling that crawls under your skin, heats up your chest, and ignites something in you that wants to explode. We've all been there, disrespected, misunderstood, undervalued. And the first instinct? To react, to defend yourself, to raise your voice, to match the disrespect with even more force. Why? Because your ego is on the line. Because no one wants to feel small. Because in that moment, staying calm feels like letting them win. But here's the truth that almost no one tells you. Reacting doesn't mean you're strong. It means you're controlled. And giving someone that power over your emotions, over your energy, over your peace is the real loss. Disrespect is a test of who you are when the world tries to shake you. It's easy to be calm when everyone is kind. It's simple to be composed when people treat you with admiration. But who are you when someone challenges your worth? Who are you when someone tries to bring you down, to strip you of your dignity, to bait you into chaos? That's where your real strength is born. You see, most people think calmness is a sign of weakness. But the strongest ones, the unshakable ones, know better. They understand that anger is easy. Anyone can explode. Anyone can shout. Anyone can clap back. But staying composed when your blood is boiling, when your pride is screaming for revenge, that takes mastery. Disrespect is everywhere. It comes from strangers, from coworkers, from people you love. But the question is not how you stop them. It's how you stop them from reaching you. Because that's where your real power lives, not in silencing the world, but in mastering your response to it. And let's be honest, we've all been taught to react. We've been raised on movies where the hero always claps back, always punches back, always proves their worth in a dramatic showdown. But life isn't a movie. And in the real world, the ones who win are not the loudest. They're the most centered. So ask yourself this: what does it cost you to react? What do you lose when you let someone else control your emotional state? Your peace, your clarity, your energy, those things are priceless. And yet we give them away every time we allow disrespect to dictate our mood. But there's another way, a better way, a way that doesn't involve yelling, fighting, or stooping to their level, a way that protects your energy, preserves your dignity, and multiplies your strength. And it begins by understanding this: you don't need to fight every battle. Some battles are won by walking away with your head held high and your peace untouched. Because the one who remains calm, unbothered, grounded, self-assured is the one who truly holds the power. It's not just the words, it's not just the tone, it's what it awakens inside of you. The part of you that still seeks validation, the part of you that questions your worth, the part of you that remembers every time someone made you feel small. Disrespect digs into old wounds. It touches places you thought were healed, and without realizing it, you start reacting not just to that person, but to every unresolved moment that came before them. That's why it feels so heavy, so personal. Because in truth, disrespect often isn't about them. It's about what you're still holding on to. And what do we usually do when it happens? We react instantly without thinking. We let our emotions lead. We raise our voice. We roll our eyes. We send the angry text. We plot the perfect comeback. And in doing so, we play right into their hands. Because disrespect is a trap. It's bait. It wants your attention. It wants your energy. It wants your peace. And every time you give it a piece of you, you shrink a little. You drift away from who you really are. The world has taught us to fight back, to clap back, to never let anyone disrespect you. We hear phrases like a "don't let them walk all over you" or a "put them in their place." But what if real strength isn't found in matching their energy? What if it's in mastering your own? Because here's the truth most people are too afraid to say. You don't have to respond to every low blow. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to prove your worth to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Your value doesn't go up or down based on someone else's opinion. Your worth is not up for negotiation. Think about it. What does it mean to win when someone disrespects you? Does it mean shouting louder? Humiliating them back? gaining the upper hand for a moment while you lose your inner balance? That's not winning. That's reaction. That's being pulled off center. That's them pulling the strings and you dancing to their chaos. Now consider this. What if the real victory is in not reacting? What if the real power is in being so grounded, so secure in who you are, that nothing they say or do can move you? That's not weakness. That's emotional intelligence. That's self-mastery. That's you choosing your peace over their poison, because here's something you need to know. People project. They disrespect others because they're insecure, angry, threatened. A person at peace doesn't feel the need to tear others down. So when someone disrespects you, remember, it says more about them than it ever could about you. But you've got to train yourself not to take the bait. Not because you're passive, but because you're purposeful. Because you understand that every time you rise above, you grow stronger. Every time you stay calm, you expand your control. And every time you choose peace, you take back your power. This is not about letting people mistreat you. It's about choosing your response with intention. It's about knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. When to walk away, not because you're afraid, but because you're focused. Because you've got bigger things to build. Because you refuse to waste your energy proving yourself to someone who doesn't deserve front row access to your life. You don't owe everyone an explanation. You don't need to convince people to respect you. Respect starts with how you carry yourself, how you treat yourself, how you respond to the noise. You want to know what real confidence looks like. It's walking through a storm without flinching. It's hearing disrespect and choosing dignity. It's knowing that not everyone deserves a reaction from you because your energy is too valuable to be spent on someone who doesn't see your worth. So the next time you feel that sting of disrespect, take a breath. Don't rush to react. Ask yourself, is this worth my peace, my time, my energy? Most of the time, the answer will be no. And in that moment, when you choose calm over chaos, you don't just protect your peace, you prove your power. Imagine yourself as an unmovable mountain standing tall while storms rage around you. The wind howls, rain batters your slopes, rocks tumble, yet you remain calm, centered, secure in your foundation. That's the power of detachment and self-control, the realization that you don't have to bend to every gust of emotion or react to every jab aimed your way. Detachment doesn't mean indifference. It doesn't mean shutting off your feelings or becoming cold-hearted. It means choosing not to let external forces, other people's opinions, criticisms, or attempts to belittle you dictate your internal state. It means placing a boundary around your peace and guarding it with intentional discipline. Think of your mind as a garden. You plant seeds, beliefs, values, dreams. Left unattended, weeds of doubt, anger, and resentment sprout. A single disrespectful comment is like a weed seed tossed in by the wind. If you water it by replaying the insult, stewing in hurt, plotting revenge, it will take root and spread, choking out the flowers of confidence, calm, and positivity. But if you notice it, pull it out at once and let it blow away. Your garden remains lush and vibrant. Emotional discipline is that pulling weeds practice. It's the muscle you build by noticing the first tug of irritation, your heartbeat quickening, your jaw clenching, the urge to unleash words like arrows, and choosing instead to step back. You become the observer. I see that thought. I acknowledge that feeling. I let it pass. In those moments, you're neither ignoring your emotions nor letting them hijack you. You're mastering them. Great leaders, athletes, and artists know this secret. When criticism flies, they do not lunge. When provoked, they do not snap. They pause, breathe, and respond not from impulse, but from intention. They understand that calmness is a strategic choice, a way to preserve clarity, protect creativity, and maintain momentum toward their goals. Here's a simple practice to strengthen your discipline muscle, the 3-count pause. The moment you sense disrespect, either spoken or implied, inhale deeply to a count of 3, hold for 3, exhale for 3. In that 9-beat rhythm, you create space between stimulus and response. In that space, you regain control. You decide whether to engage, to walk away, or to respond with quiet authority. Silence can be your mightiest tool. When someone expects you to snap back, silence disrupts their script. It's a refusal to play a role they wrote for you. In the hush, they feel the weight of their own words, the emptiness of the conflict they sought. Silence doesn't show weakness, it broadcasts confidence. It says, your disrespect isn't worth my voice. Detachment also means anchoring yourself in unshakable truths. You are more than this moment. Your worth doesn't hinge on their approval. Your identity isn't tied to others' limited perspectives. Ground yourself in your values, honor, integrity, growth, and let those guide your response. When someone disrespects you, repeat an inner mantra. I remain steady. I choose peace. This is not my battle. With each disciplined breath, each silent refusal to react, you sharpen your self-control. You transform disrespect from a trigger into a reminder to return to your center, to realign with your true. Like a compass pointing steadily north despite magnetic disturbances, your inner calm guides you through every challenge. As you practice detachment, you begin to see disrespect for what it is. A surface ripple in the ocean of your being. You acknowledge it, let it pass, and watch your own surface settle back into stillness. No matter how fierce the ripple, the depths remain tranquil. This is the path of mastery. Not reacting to every jab, not defending your dignity with clamor, but holding your ground with silent, deliberate power. You become the unshakable presence in every interaction, a force that neither fear nor disrespect can move. And when you cultivate that presence, you'll notice something remarkable. The people who once disrespected you begin to treat you differently. They sense your calm strength. They realize you cannot be baited. They learn that with you, disrespect is a dead end. Embrace detachment. Cultivate emotional discipline. Become the unmovable mountain, the serene ocean, the gardener who weeds swiftly. In that space, your true power emerges, quiet, profound, and utterly unstoppable. When you feel the sting of disrespect, it's easy to let that heat rush through you and cloud your mind. But what if, instead of surrendering to the fire, you could channel it into something far more powerful, calm, clarity, and control? Here are practical techniques you can put into action the moment you sense that familiar spike of irritation. The first step to mastering your reaction is simple. Pause. In that instant when words land like arrows, inhale slowly, counting to 3. Hold your breath for 3. Exhale for 3. That 9-beat rhythm creates a buffer between the trigger and your response. In that space, you reclaim agency. You decide whether to engage, to diffuse, or to walk away. Every time you practice this, you strengthen your ability to choose peace over impulse. Select a short mantra that resonates, something like, I am calm, this is not my battle, or a peace is power. Repeat it quietly to yourself the moment disrespect surfaces. The brain responds to repetition. By pairing your mantra with the 3-count pause, you interrupt the cycle of anger and replace it with intention. Over time, this transforms into an automatic stabilizer, bringing you back to center when chaos threatens to pull you off balance. Imagine you're watching yourself from a distance like a calm spectator witnessing a heated scene. Visualize your thoughts and emotions as clouds drifting across the sky of your mind. When disrespect arises, note it as simply another cloud. There, but not permanent. Naming the feeling, that's anger. There's the urge to snap back, creates psychological distance. You're no longer fused with the emotion, you're the observer. And observers are never controlled by the storm they watch. It's often mistaken for weakness. But in the face of disrespect, silence is a strategic weapon. When someone expects you to retort, your quiet response disarms them. It highlights the contrast between their agitation and your composure. Silence forces them to confront the weight of their own words. Instead of fueling their narrative, you deny them the reaction they crave. You keep your power intact. Our bodies and minds are inseparable. In the heat of disrespect, tension builds, shoulders tighten, jaw clenches, heart races. Release that tension with a subtle physical reset. Roll your shoulders back, unclench your jaw, lengthen your spine. If the moment allows, excuse yourself briefly for a sip of water or a stretch. This micro break signals to your nervous system that you're in control, not the insult. Before responding, ask yourself, will this reaction serve my goals? Will it protect my peace or erode it? If the answer is erode, pivot your attention to something that builds you up. Recall a recent accomplishment, think of a loved one's face, or visualize your next objective. By shifting focus, you channel your energy away from the disrespect and toward your own growth. Sometimes disrespect stems from the other person's pain or insecurity. In the heat of the moment, empathy may feel counterintuitive. yet pausing to consider what might they be struggling with can soften your reaction. It doesn't excuse bad behavior, but it helps you detach. You see their disrespect as a symptom of their struggle, not a verdict on your worth. That awareness shields you from personalizing their words. After the encounter, take a moment to journal or mentally review what happened. What emotions surfaced? Which technique did you use? What worked and what could you do differently next time? This debrief isn't about self-criticism. It's about refining your emotional toolkit. Each reflection session is like sharpening a blade. Make it a habit, and your calm will grow keener with every trial. Remember, these techniques are muscles in your emotional fitness routine. The first time you try them, mistakes will happen. You might skip the pause, or the mantra might slip your mind. That's okay. Mastery comes through practice, not perfection. Each moment you choose calm over chaos, you reinforce the neural pathways of composure. You plant seeds of self-mastery that in time blossom into unshakable peace. Disrespect will always be part of life. But with these tools, breathing rhythms, grounding phrases, observer perspective, silence, physical resets, refocusing questions, empathy, and reflection, you transform disrespect from a trigger into an opportunity. An opportunity to prove over and over that your true strength lies not in how loudly you defend yourself, but in how calmly you stand your ground. You see, when someone disrespects you, their behavior often says more about them than it ever could about you. That comment, that tone, that look. It's often a reflection of their insecurity, their fear, their need to feel bigger by making someone else feel small. Once you start to see it this way, you stop internalizing the insult and start recognizing the pattern. And here's the truth. Just because someone disrespects you doesn't mean you've lost value. You don't become less intelligent because someone mocks your ideas. You don't become less worthy because someone overlooks your efforts. You don't become weak because someone tried to dominate the moment. Think of yourself like gold, toss it in the mud, and it's still gold. Step on it, and it doesn't lose its value. You might get tarnished in someone else's chaos, but your worth remains untouched. When someone disrespects you, it's a test, not of your character, but of your response. So let's be clear. Disrespect is never about proving yourself to them. It's about proving to yourself that you've grown beyond the need to fight every battle. Not every dog that barks deserves your attention. Sometimes silence and a steady walk forward is the highest form of dominance. But what about the times when it feels personal? When it comes from someone you care about, a friend, a coworker, a family member, that's where boundaries come in. Boundaries aren't walls to shut people out. They're fences that protect your peace. And guess what? You have every right to build them. You have every right to say, that tone doesn't work for me, or I won't be spoken to like that. Not to punish them, but to honor yourself. To send a clear message. I don't lower my standards for temporary comfort or approval. Now, here's a hard truth. Setting boundaries won't always be received well. People who benefited from your silence will struggle with your voice. People who are used to your passivity may call your peace arrogance when you stop catering to their moods. But that's part of the shift. That's part of becoming unshakable. When you stop reacting to disrespect and start enforcing peace, your environment changes. Some people will step up, others will step away. Either way, you win. Because here's what you're doing. You're reclaiming your power. Every time you pause instead of retaliate, you win. Every time you speak your truth with calm, you win. Every time you walk away without needing the last word, you win. Disrespect loses its power when you no longer need to validate your worth in that moment. That doesn't make you passive. It makes you focused. It means your eyes are on the long game, not the petty skirmish. Remember, you're not here to convince people to treat you with respect. You're here to treat yourself with such unwavering self-respect that it becomes the standard around you. People will either rise to meet it or remove themselves. That's not rejection. It's refinement. That's life editing itself in your favor. You don't need to prove your power. You are the power. The more you know it, the less you'll feel the urge to defend it, so walk forward. Head high, shoulders back. Calm heart, clear mind. Let them talk, let them doubt, let them try to provoke. You've outgrown the need to participate in every battle. You've built something stronger than a comeback. You've built presence, and presence doesn't shout. Presence doesn't chase. Presence simply is. There's going to be moments when someone disrespects you and it hits a nerve. It catches you off guard. You feel it rise in your chest, the tightness, the sting, the urge to fight back, to shut it down, to make them feel what they made you feel. But pause right there. That's the moment. That's the doorway to growth. That's where you get to decide whether you fall back into the old you or rise into the version of yourself you've been working to become. Because staying calm isn't about pretending you're not hurt. It's not about suppressing your emotions or becoming numb. No, staying calm is about choosing power over reaction. It's about letting the storm pass through you without dragging you out to sea. You're not weak because you didn't react. That you're not a pushover because you chose peace. That you're strategic, you're intentional, and more than anything, you're free. When someone disrespects you and you stay calm, you're telling the world, I don't dance for your drama. I don't bend for your chaos. I don't shrink because you're loud. That's a message louder than any argument. That's a vibration people feel. And it shakes them because most people expect conflict. Most people expect emotional warfare. But when you respond with calm, you become something rare, something unforgettable. You become the example. Because here's the secret. The real power doesn't live in proving someone wrong. It lives in proving to yourself that you don't need to. It lives in knowing who you are so deeply that no insult can touch it. No lie can rewrite it. No tone can rattle it. Let them have their opinion. Let them throw their shadows. You're not responsible for their wounds. You're responsible for your peace, your clarity, your direction. That it's not just about avoiding conflict. It's about elevating yourself so high that conflict can't reach you. You ever see a lion bothered by the opinion of a sheep, a mountain shaken by the wind, an ocean disturbed by a single stone? Because greatness doesn't flinch, it doesn't chase, it doesn't explain, it just is done, and that's you now. That's the path you're on. So when you walk into a room and someone throws shade, let your silence answer. When someone questions your worth, let your consistency speak. When they doubt your path, let your results respond. You don't have to defend peace, you embody it. You don't have to chase respect, you command it. You don't have to fight to be seen, you should. And the more you live from that place, the calm, centered, grounded version of you, the more untouchable you become. Not because people stop trying you, but because their attempts no longer find a target. You've outgrown the chaos, you've become peace. So carry that with you. Not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. In moments of tension, of challenge, of disrespect, breathe, ground yourself, and remember, calm isn't a weakness. It's your armor. It's your power. It's your proof that you are no longer ruled by the outside world. You've stepped into mastery. You've claimed your space, and now